Greetings everyone, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, here to bring you another retro review from past seasons of The Loud House. In today's video, we look at the Season 3 episode that I once considered both the best Lynn Sr. and best parent episode until Season 5 came along, and it deals with one of the biggest balancing acts any parent has to go through with more than one child. Today's episode is titled, Home of the Fave. First, we'll discuss the plot, and then my thoughts and critiques with my final score. So, let's get right into it. The episode begins with Lynn Sr. taking Luan and Lola to the grocery store. While he and Luan are having a good time, he sees Lola not looking as happy. He assumes he was playing favorites with Luan, and decides he needs to make it up to Lola. He starts having fun with his younger daughter, but then he starts thinking his other children are feeling left out as well. So he begins spending time with each and every one of them individually, but he finally has a breakdown during dinner and believes he failed to give everyone the same amount of attention. Some of the kids, specifically Lola and Lynn, explain why they looked mad when their dad was talking to them earlier, and they all remind him that he doesn't play favorites with any of them. Maybe the pets don't feel the same way when it comes to Lynn playing with Cliff, but that's another story. Well, that concludes the plot of the episode, so now we come to my thoughts and critiques. Drawing from my own childhood, I could definitely see where this episode wanted to go, and I can say without a doubt, it's probably as real as it can get for illustrating how parents try not to favor one child over another. That's something my mom and dad had to do with my older brother and I when we were kids, and we were always reassured that even if one of us got a little bit more personal time with them than the other, it didn't mean we were loved any less. And that's what Mr. Loud felt he needed to prove here. I really did feel bad for him since he talked about how his father used to play favorites with Lynn's brother when they were kids. He didn't want to repeat the same mistakes on his own kids, and you have to admit he really went all out trying to show how much he loved his children. I think of this episode as an alternate retelling of the Season 1 episode Attention Deficit, where Lincoln believes he's getting no attention from his parents. In the end, it turns out the mom and dad were always planning to help him, but they just needed to find the time. That's more or less what Lynn Sr. was trying to do with his kids here, and he made all the time in the world for each and every one of them. You could tell his kids were very appreciative of this one-on-one time, and Mr. Loud's happy reaction to their happiness was very feelsy and very heart-touching. He truly was the best thing about this episode. Any dad who's willing to be seen in a dress out in public, or dancing like that demon toy known as Fenton the Feel Better Fox, is very much respected in my book. Of course, everything was just one big collective misunderstanding because Mr. Loud interpreted his kids' facial expressions as their way of saying, "I guess you don't love me as much as the others." However, everyone had a reason for why they didn't look all too happy, or at least you can figure out a reason for yourself. In the case of Lola and Lynn Jr. respectively, Lola was only mad because she wasn't allowed to have a free balloon at the grocery store, and that her dad and Luan's jokes were really annoying, and Lynn Jr. was angry because her favorite quarterback was injured. Maybe Luna was getting frustrated not being able to get her guitar in tune, hence why the string snapped. And maybe Lori was getting mad at the text she received and never intended to shoot a mean look at her dad. The point is that no matter what the kids were going through when they saw their dad hanging out with their other siblings, the last thing on their minds was a feeling of abandonment. Although in Lily's case, I don't even know how to explain why she looked so sad. Regardless, Lynn Sr. wanted to make sure everyone was getting an equal amount of attention, and that wasn't easy. Even going so far as to make 11 different dinners was a true labor of love. But I have to admit, I did have a little problem with that scene. I didn't really buy into the idea of sitting in the corner rather than sitting next to one of his children, nor did I really care for the boo-boo kisses for everyone and picking names from hats. I mean, I understood what he was trying to do, and I do sympathize with the gestures, but it came off as a little too much for my taste. But hey, without that scene, we wouldn't have had this man paying tribute to Snoopy in the backyard. So there's that. And of course, it was kind of funny seeing him have to go through his predicament all over again with the pets during the final scene. It's a strange day when you begin to think animals are more jealous of being snubbed than kids. Well, hey, what can you do? Overall, this episode is very well done, and whether you're a kid or a parent, you can't disagree when I say Lynn Loud Sr. demonstrated how to be an upstanding father figure. He may have had his kids all wrong when it came to figuring out why they looked unhappy, but his backstory from his childhood was the motivating factor he needed to prove to both himself and his children how he doesn't value one over the other. No matter what fans try to say about the kind of father he is in episodes both before and following this one, I can't see any reason to credit him as a terrible father when you see how far he's willing to go just to show how much he loves his kids equally. And I have nothing but respect for what he did here, minus those little moments during dinner. In short, never assume your parents are playing favorites with your other siblings, and that eventually they will find time for you, and you'll grow to appreciate that special time together. With that said, I give Home of the Fave a 9.7 out of 10. Well, folks, that concludes my review of Home of the Fave. As I mentioned at the beginning, this really is Lynn Sr.'s best episode, and although it's only slightly lower than the Season 5 episode Undercover Mom, it's those two episodes that, in my opinion, make up for some of those bad parenting moments of the past and future. Not all, but some, and I believe that's fair enough in the grand scheme of things. Feel free to disagree. So what did you guys think of it? Love it? Hate it? Something you would add? Change? Keep it as it is? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest Loud House content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.